Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala around us. And this is, as we said from the first session, it's Allah's promise that He's going to show us His signs in the universe, in ourselves. And these signs, why they are very important? Because similar to the ayat in the Qur'an, we call it ayatullah, the signs of Allah in the universe, in ourselves, and the ayat of the Qur'an. Both of them guide people to the straight path. So if you want to be guided, this is the signs that we have to follow to guide us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is one of them in Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayah number 22. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have in the Mus'haf. Yeah, it's okay. Because I forget the glasses. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Yeah, we've been yesterday in a Turkish mosque. They have the big mosque, the big mushaf on the, this is what we need. So you don't need any glasses. So they do it for Taraweeh. They put the big mushaf in the front of the imam and the imam read from it. We have, so they can put it for teaching and also for the so in Surah Al-Ma'idah, number 22, inshallah, Surah 5. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ayah? Al-Ma'idah, 5, right? Ayah number 22. يا أيها الناس كنتم برب من البعث يا أيها الذي يا أيها الناس كنتم. No, this is the ayah that choose. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started this ayah about يا أيها الناس. Is a call to the people. Some Mufassirin said people of Quraysh. Some people said every human being. إن كنتم في ريب من البعث. If you have a doubt about Ba'th. Ba'th is resurrection. So Allah is here answering the people, especially the people of Quraysh. They have doubt about the Ba'th. They believe in Allah. فإذا سألت وإن سألت من خلق السماوات والأرض لا يقولون الله. They have no doubt that Allah is the creator of the heaven and the earth, but they don't believe in the resurrection. إذا كنا عظاما, after we become dust and bones, how Allah is going to bring us back? This is this is why for them there is no hisab. And this is the biggest fear. If there is hisab, they're going to be in very big trouble. So he said, you know what? Let's deny the hisab. Deny the day of judgment. If there is no day of judgment, there is no hisab. Nobody will be held accountable, that we are good. When Rasul ﷺ came through the revelation that everybody going to be held accountable because there is Yawmul Hisab. There is day of judgment. Everything changed on them. Now, if there is hisab, what I say, what I do, I am going to be held accountable. So this is why strongly they rejected the concept of Ba'th in Kuffar Quraysh. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking to them and talk to anybody else who rejected this. So what Allah said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. If you have a doubt, riba is the doubt. We say this person murtab, means doubtful, raib. And also we call it shak. Shak and raib. Raib is deep shak, deep doubt. Arabic is very detailed language. So it's not only doubt, but deep doubt, we call it raib. قال إن كنتم في ريب, if you are in state of raib, in state of doubt, من البعث, from the ba'th, فإن means this is the answer of your raib. If you want to get the answer for ba'th, reflect, follow what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said here. قال فإنا, and this is من البعث, فإنا خلقناكم من تراب ثم من نطفة ثم من علقة until the rest of the ayah. So Allah is here for the people who want to believe in the ba'th and resurrection. Look to the following. What's the following that Allah talk about? The stages of creation of us. So if we look to ourselves, we're going to find the answer for the raib, for the ba'th. So how to understand, and this is very important, understand how the creation happened. It's going to help us to understand how the recreation is going to happen again. Because al-ba'th is khalq jadid, new creation. Allah yabda'u al-khalqa thumma yu'iduhu. So the ability of create and recreate, it's the sign of the ability of ba'th. And how are we going to see this creation first? And this is very sensitive and important things. Because the knowledge of the people changed in the last 50 years, 30 years is not like today. Every time we have new things related to the creation. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the creation of the human being and the creation of the universe. We have a command from Allah. And this command said, قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ بَدَأَ الْخَلْقِ. Allah said, if you want to know how the creation started, not only the creation of the heaven and the earth, but the creation of people, travel in the earth. How travel in the earth is going to help us to understand. Because Allah said there is signs in the earth, signs, there is indication, there is clues. In the earth is going to tell you how the creation started. And this is bring us to a different level. For the Christian and the Jew, changed teaching, they don't believe in the creation that happened in stages. They believe in what they call it al-khalq al-mubashir. That's it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they make it in a very, unfortunately some Muslim, they have the same understanding, which is very dangerous. Allah made, even though there is some ahadith about it, but they're not strong, it's related to this, make like statues of Adam, and Adam, Allah, nafakha fih, they interpreted it, it's like magician, and Adam start sneezing, and some Israeliyat. We have to be very careful, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't talk about this khalq al-mubashir, but Allah talked about the stages of creation. وَخَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَطْوَارًا. At-tawr is the stages. As Allah created the heavens and the earth in stages, Allah created this. So what Allah said, the first sign of this creation, that Allah started the creation of man from turab and from teen. So teen, what's teen? Teen is mud, dust, and water. But we don't have to look at it as mud that we do the clay and made things. Because Allah described this creation in an amazing way, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. So the first things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described here, if you want to see how the purpose of this ayah is the ba'th, the recreation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the creation started from the earth. And this is definitely, the life didn't come from a different planet, different solar system, as some people think, but the life starts here. What's the ayah that proves this? منها خلقناكم وفيها نعيدكم ومنها نخرجكم تارة أخرى. The answer is very clear. Everything happened in the earth. The creation, the beginning of the creation, everything happened here. And Allah said that we're going to find out, because the ayah that I mentioned first, clear. قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ بَدَأَ الْخَلْقِ. Look to the earth, let's travel in the earth and look. So what's one of the answer for this is the fossils that we find in the earth. So everything that happened for the last million years left clues on the earth. And if you go, you can see what happened. We are trying. And this is for the last maybe 200 years. The people, they look to the fossils and what's left from before us, and we're going to see what's happened before. And this methodology is very, very important. That you dig, as you dig deeper, as you see what's happened. And I remember we used to go and study the number of the floods that happen in our area by going to the geological, when we are studying this, and you see the layers in the cut, like, for the earth, and you know how many floods that come in the last 100 years. The same as you cut the tree and you see what's happened to the tree, and you count every year because the tree changed and grow, and you see them a circle. So you know how old, and you go and you see how many floods happened in the last 1,000 years, and you see the layers. So everything is saved there. Look, something amazing. You look deeper in the earth, you see what happened in the past. You look deeper in the space, you see what happened in the past. When I look deeper in the space, I see what? I see the beginning, the older creation. You look to the Shara 8 years ago. You look to North Star 340 years back. As you go deeper, as you see the history. And this is one of the great signs. If we want to know كيف بدأ الخلق, how the creation started, we have to dig deeper and go deeper. So this is the key for this. So everything is preserved. Everything is protected. The only thing we have to do the steps, do the ta'ammul, the tadabbur, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. So the answer. But many years ago, everything changed. This history of things is not very far from us, as always we said. Our history is written in our DNA. All your history, thousands of years, for your parents and grandparents and everything that happened, it's written. Don't go too far. Look deeper in your cells and go deeper in the cells to the DNA, and you're going to see everything that happened, every history, where you came from, 5,000, 15,000 years ago, where your ancestor used to live. With a very small test, I can know what's your history. 15,000 years ago, the great father, where he lived. Or if you are mixed or married from somebody else from tribe, everything is writing there. And I told you these amazing things that it happened problem maybe 12, 15 years ago. The Shayba is the tribe that Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave them the key of the Kaaba. It's tribe, in Arabia. When the DNA came, they start making the test. They find out that Shayba, the same tribe, has 2 DNA different. Some people came from Central Asia, and some people came from the lineage of Ibrahim alayhi salam Ismail. It will come crisis. What happened? No explanation. Only 1 or 2. There is some cheating and something wrong happened. And this is, in the Arabs, this is something, Or there is something, his DNA is wrong. Start fight. The same tribe, DNA-wise, split in 2. And 2 different. They look the same because they keep married. But DNA doesn't go with the outside look. It goes to the real things. If 5,000 years ago something happened, you're going to see it there. So they start looking, they called everybody historian and everything. DNA possibility of mistake is 1/46 billion. Almost 0. There is nothing. So what's the explanation? They said, let's go to the history. 150 years before the Prophet ﷺ, something happened in Mecca. What's happened? A tribe, there is concept in Arabia, we call it jiwar. Jiwar, and also like tabanni, adapt. But this adaptation to whole tribes. They said, the leader of the tribe said, this tribes is going to be with us. Their name changed and everything, and they consider that's it. They are part of Shayba. 150 years ago, before the Prophet ﷺ, there is tribes, they come from the north. They came to Mecca, and the tribes of Shayba, they adopted them. And when you adapt them, you don't change their DNA. You married with them, still their DNA, the first DNA is still there. So they find out this tribe came from Central Asia because their group, the male DNA, Y DNA group is different than the J1. I think it's O. So it means they came from Central Asia, and all of this in the poetry of the Arabs, they talking about what happened between Shayba and the people who came from the north. So the adoption happened. They learned the language. Generation after generation, they married from Shayba, but still the father is different. After 2,000 years, or 1,800 years, now the test came, and they came the history. What happened? 1,800 years. It's come today. There is no cheating. There is nothing. But the poetry documented that this tribe, they've been adopted by Shayba. This means that the history, قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ بَدَأَ. Everything is there, is documented. I was talking to the young group, and I told them, your talk, when you speak, this waves of sound waves that we create, they don't disappear, but they become too small for our ear to adapt them. Because this is like adapt. We cannot hear everything. There is a lot of sound here. We cannot hear them. Not because they're not there, but because our ears, they are not adapted to accept these waves. So the tool, it's not. Our ability of hearing is very limited. Certain waves, we can hear them. Above that, under that, we cannot hear. The same color. We see from the red until the violet. And there is other colors right now, but we don't see them because our eyes, the nerve in the back of our eyes, they have limited ability. If we can see everything, you see amazing things here. If we see everything, I cannot see you. Because many things, many colors, many waves, the radio, the phones, everything is come here, but we cannot see them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, be careful. Don't run for what? For rush, for conclusion. Because وَمَا أُتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. The knowledge that you get is very limited. But we have promised that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the signs until you have no doubt about it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talked about the creation, He described the steps. And they say the first thing started from earth. How? This is a technology. Now if you Google or ChatGPT how the life started on earth, they're going to give you 7 or 8 theories. There is no scientific answer. How this life, if this has come from material like the hydrogen, the helium, and how this material become a living creature. This is one of the biggest questions. We have the Arabs, they have answered, and the Muslims, Ibn Baskawayh and many, they said, it's very simple. We started from jamad, everything that doesn't have a life. Rocks and metals and everything. And then nabat, plants. And then hayawan, animals. And then insan. And this is how they describe the Ibn Baskawayh, the Muslims. So they talk, Allah created first the non-living things, and then the living things started, and the science until today, they don't have answer for this. Because وَمَا أُتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. But something happened, and something we are able, inshallah, to see, because Allah promised us, you can see how the life started. And when we talk about the life, we talk about the simplest form of life. And then the other life, how it's happened. This is one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, until we come to the animal kingdom, and then we have the human being. For us, biologically, we are very, very similar to the mammal. We have everything, biologically. But the consciousness. Always I remember, subhanallah, Allahumma irhamhu wa yaghfir lahu. Dr. Siraj al-Haq. He's the father of Altaf Hussein, our brother, Dr. Altaf Hussein. Before he died, big part of his research, it's about the consciousness. I used to go to his house and discuss and show me many times. Allahumma ghfir lahu warhamah, inshallah. May Allah bless him. I don't know if you remember him or not. So in his house, he has this, and he came with a very theory. Before he so explained this theory for me, that the consciousness, the order is different. The consciousness first, and then the physical. He flipped all the history of physics and that. And subhanallah, I swear by Allah, it happened. There is a theory, the second most important researcher in the world. He said, I was listening, and he tried to introduce his opinion about the consciousness related to the material, because this is a big question, how the consciousness came. And he said things very similar to what Dr. Siraj al-Haq. Siraj. I called him, and they say he's in the hospital, and he died after 2 weeks. I called him to tell him that what you've been defending for many years, it's now become really scientific proposal, a scientific theory, that it's everybody start to accept it, because still until now they don't have an answer. So how the transformation from an animal, from non-living things to living things, to the animal, and the most important, to this consciousness that the people has. How the DNA explain now? They have what DNA tell you? We can tell you exactly when the first man lived. Because if you get somebody, for example, I mentioned this before. When we did our DNA, the Y DNA, Abla group, they call it. It's the chromosome of the men that go from father to son and go this way. It tells us we are in group E. Same group as most of the people in Africa and North Africa. In Algeria, mostly E, Tunisia, Somalia. There is Brother Ahmed, he's not here. Our DNA, my DNA, and him, he's from Somalia, Brother Ahmed. I know his uncle is here. It's almost the same DNA. Almost, and all the people. So, we can tell you what happened in the history, but you don't know before that. No answer. كيف بدأ الخلق? Exactly, they have no answer. So this DNA, if you give it the DNA, the group, I tell you when exactly your group started. So for example, there is the alphabetic order, A, B, C, D group. A group, B, C, D, E, F, until Q, I think, or the other things. As your group is, if you fit in E, for example, like us, A, B, C, D, E. It's a tree. We are in the bottom of the tree. Means we are from the first people closest to the beginning of the man, of the human being that got started. Because there is nothing that we know before A. But the amazing things, A, B, C, D, all of them, you can see them in E. Plus something that they don't have it. That's what we call it. This is the mutation. New things happen. And then new things happen, we go to a different group. Has everything before it and something new. When you come to the green eyes, as we said before, 10,000 years ago, there is nobody with green eyes in the earth. It's new. And you keep going. And the newest people in Australia and go back to all what we call them, the map of it. So everything is documented there. And everything, nothing is skipping. And we are more than any time in the history, we understand a few things. When I was a student, if somebody there is Adam, the scientist community, they laugh at you. Oh, how all of these people came from one man. 15 or 17 years ago, every human being go back to one man. One man. And we know the DNA of this man. And we know where he lived. And we know everybody connection. You know what they are able to do now? To tell you how many people come from this person. Genghis Khan, 2 million people in the earth. if my memory with that, they are there. Go back to Genghis Khan. From the Arabs, what's his name? The famed poet of Bani Muhammad Rasulullah. Imru al-Qais. Imru al-Qais. Half of the Arabs came from Imru al-Qais. Yeah, it's amazing. They tell you how you go back to. So we have things that we never had before. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He said, the creation is going to be seen, and the khalq, as Allah described it here, is going to see it and see it clearly. And this is one of the miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So people, we know that all of us go back to one man DNA. All of the people on the earth, we know. And they know exactly where it is. And they did one very important, National Geographic about Genghis Khan and this. They go back to the closest person. He was a Muslim in Central Asia, I think in Dagestan or one of the South, the old Soviet Union Muslim. This man, he's genetically the closest person to Genghis Khan, from DNA wise. So we have ability now to see the history in the universe, and in the house, on the earth, and in ourselves, because nothing disappeared. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about the steps. Then from turab, thumma min nutfa, thumma, and this is now the form how we changing. Nutfa, thumma min alaqa. Alaqa is the beginning of the creation of the man, either in the nature or in the womb of the mother. And then mudgha, it's something multiple cells. And then mukhallaqa wa ghayru mukhallaqa. Some of them, they survive in the womb of the mother, or some of them, they don't survive. The pregnancy will stop. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking. قَالْ لِنُبَيِّنَ لَكُمْ وَنُقِرْ, to clarify to you, and وَنُقِرُّ فِي الْأَرْحَامِ مَا نَشَاءُ. And Allah talk about what's this child, baby growing in the womb of the mother, Allah, by the willing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then He said, قَالَ إِلَى أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. And then the birth come, and everybody lived. Some of them lived few minutes, some of them few hours, few days, few months, few years. Some people die young, some people die older. And the cycle of the death, it's one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He show us this ability or this cycle of the life and death. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about the same cycle of life and death. We can see it in the plant, we can see it in the nature, and this is one of the most powerful things. I quickly, to don't keep you long, one of the amazing things that Allah said, the cycle that remind us with the bath, is the cycle of al-farash al-mabthuth. Allah talk about two creatures. If you look to the cycle, it gives you idea how the resurrection is going to happen. Number one is al-farash. Al-farash is the butterfly, and the cycle of the butterfly. Every butterfly started as caterpillar, and then it's died and go through the cocoon like the kafan. Sister, she donated 6 kafan yesterday for kafan, and then the farasha came out from this, and this example come out from this kafan to start a new life, different life. Allah said, look to the cycle of the butterfly, and you're going to see how the life. So for us, when we died, we think that we finish, but we didn't finish. There is small things left there that is going to start the new life, and in a form that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows so far. The second example is jaradun muntashir. Jarad is the locust. Locust is one of the signs of the recreation. Eggs go mixed with sand in the middle of the Sahara, and the condition came after 70 years, sometimes 100 years, and all this eggs mixed. You don't differentiate them from the sand of the Sahara. it become alive. Not only alive, they come out, and they come out. Anybody saw the locusts, the attack? You live in the Sahara. Amazing. The last one, it was in 1987. It was 2004. I was here. I didn't see it, but it was big there. Huh? Very big. Subhanallah. I saw the wave of Jarad in 1987. It was a Eid day, and we saw the Jarad coming from the south, from the Sahara. I thought it's cloud. Really cloud. You see, this came from after 100 years of drought. From nowhere. The life came, and not only life, they eat everything in their path. They come on the tree, green tree, come and live with no leaves. It's one of the big signs of Allah. I remember we took the binocular. It's not cloud. It's millions and millions of locusts coming, going to north. And sometimes they arrive to Europe. It's one of the powerful signs how what's they said? يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ. The recreation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the ayah is talk, subhanallah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is talk about the power of Allah and how the recreation is happening. I'm going to stop here for the ayah. And this is one of the things that we have to reflect about it, because it's going to guide us to understand at certain level the ba'ath is possible. The recreation is possible. The al-hayatu ba'd al-maut is possible, and it's in our deep in ourselves, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. So this is just a reminder with this, and this ayat are repeated a lot in the Quran. Talk about bidayatul khalq, the beginning of the creation, and the i'adatul khalq. Yabda'ul khalqa thumma yu'iduhu. Allah, and this has happened to the universe, could be the Big Bang, the beginning of the creation, and then another creation. Could be our life, the same things. Could be this planet, and this is the same things. There is a lot of things that we don't know, and this is humble us, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of the knowledge, and we have to ask Him for more knowledge to give it to us. علمنا ما لا نعلم. Oh Allah, taught us things that we don't know. Show us things that only you know. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our knowledge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our faith. May Allah help us the tadabbur and the reflection of His book and the universe around us. الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض, and they reflect about the creation of the heaven and the earth. ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت وتعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم إنا أصبحنا نشهدك ونشهد ملائكتك وحملة عرشك وأنبيائك ونشهد من في السماوات ومن في الأرض أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك، وأن محمدا عبدك ورسولك. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا. اللهم ما أصبح بنا من نعمة أو بأحد من خلقك فمنك وحدك لا شريك لك، فلك الحمد ولك الشكر. اللهم احفظنا بحفظك، اللهم استرنا بسترك. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا منه سالما معصوما. اللهم لا تجعل معنا ولا بيننا شقيا ولا مطرودا ولا محروما. اللهم برحمتك عمنا، اللهم اكفنا شر ما أهمنا. اللهم اعط لكل من الحاضرين من الخير ما يتمنى. آمين آمين. وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم